the reason that there's such outcry is the recognition that with Amy Barrett on and a presumptive 6-3 conservative majority, or at least 5-4, depending on votes, that we could literally see Roe v. Wade overturned and thrown back to states. Just the statement of that would be massive in God's sight in terms of a window of mercy and a standing for righteousness, even though the battle would continue.
Dr. Brown, recently with the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg on Rosh Hashanah of all times, do you see any prophetic significance to the timing of this? And what does this mean with that and the nomination of Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court? What does this mean for the future of America?
I see this as of massive prophetic significance. One of these things where God's knocking us over the head to make sure we hear it. Like Ruth Bader Ginsburg obviously courageously held on, didn't want to retire because she didn't want Donald Trump to appoint her replacement or nominate her replacement. But we didn't have any word that she was sick again. She had cancer at the hospital, everything fine. And then suddenly it's Rosh Hashanah, or it had already started in Israel. It's about to start in other parts of the country when we get the announcement that she's passed. So the timing of that is momentous. It is the first day of the 7th month on the biblical calendar, the Feast of Trumpets. And this is a wake-up call. Wake up, turn to God. And in Jewish tradition, this becomes the Jewish New Year. And the days that follow, called Yomim Noraim, the days of awe, Yomim Noraim, that this is a 10-day period of introspection and repentance leading up to Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. So for her to die at that moment, if there's one time of the year when God gets our attention with the trumpet blast, it's that time. That's when she passes. Then Trump announces Amy Coney Barrett as his nominee to replace her. When does that happen? What happens on Saturday, September 26th, literally at the same time that we're finishing up the main portion of the day at the return. This is being watched by tens of millions. We report it's of several hundred million total watching this around the world because of all the links and everything else. So this massively watched event, and it culminates with all these people on the platform blowing the shofar. Wow. And throughout the crowd blowing the shofar and crying out to God, literally at the same time that Trump, a few miles away, less than that, is announcing Amy Coney Barrett. So I was talking to Jonathan Kahn, who was the visionary behind the return event. We were talking about the timing of this, just like, how in the world does this happen? No one knew this was going to happen. The return event had been planned way, way, way in advance, as had the prayer march. So no one knew that Ruth Bader Ginsburg was going to die. No one knew the replacement was going to be announced that day. So this is of momentous significance. One of these, oh my moments.
Yeah.
As far as the future, I mean, you have a woman who is the conservative Catholic opposite mirror image of Ruth Bader Ginsburg as a liberal Jew. So you just look at ultimate values and convictions and things that are important in worldview, and they would have certain areas of overlap as brilliant justices and as women who are concerned for the well-being of all women. But you've got the exact opposite in terms of religious values and moral and cultural values and things like that. And the reason that there's such outcry is the recognition that with Amy Barrett on and a presumptive 6-3 conservative majority, or at least 5-4, depending on votes, that we could literally see Roe v. Wade overturned and thrown back to states. Just the statement of that would be massive in God's sight in terms of a window of mercy and a standing for righteousness, even though the battle would continue. So I see it of momentous prophetic and practical significance.
Well, we know that the media has never hidden their disdain for Christians, nor has the left in general, but do you believe we're already seeing attacks against Amy Coney Barrett and her faith particularly? Could this be the beginning of a permission to more publicly and viciously attack people of faith in this nation?
Well, it's already been there. The hearings just for her federal court appointment were the same. She, and Dianne Feinstein was wondering, can you separate your religious dogma from your rulings, as if there's now a religious test, that's been now turned on its head, that you can't be religious. So the attack has been there. The attack has been open. It's going to get more open. And what's important for your viewers is to remember is that this is not an attack on Catholicism. This is an attack on conservative Christian beliefs. So even though you might say, well, I'm not Catholic, that's not the issue. This is an attack on people of faith. It's going to be more open. It's going to be more overt. It has been. It's going to increase. Let's be ready for it, and let's show the world a better way.
And as a final question, and we tend to see the pendulum of politics swing from one extreme to the other every 8 years, especially in the executive branch. And Trump was a response to the Obama administration. 4 years from now, what could we be looking at as far as what the Democrats put up as a nominee or what America chooses? What should we be looking forward to or praying towards moving forward?
It's possible that the extremes will burn themselves out and that both parties will say, we need to moderate. We need to all run towards the middle, because that's normally the way you have to win in America. You have to run towards the middle, slightly to the right. We're slight conservative, but you run basically towards the middle. That's the way you win. That's not the way it's going now, or the way it went in the last election. It could be that America just can't take it anymore, and the tearing each other apart, and that things get more moderate. But let's say Trump is reelected. I don't expect him to suddenly be the master peacemaker and unifier. So it's going to be up to the church to really build bridges. It's going to be up to the church to really show a better way and to say, okay, we're glad for these policies, but we are not defending the man at every turn, and we are not trying to emulate the man. If the church can really lead the way in gospel witness, so many Americans are hurting and confused. If we could really make a difference where we live, the church being the church in neighborhoods and communities, then perhaps 4 years from now, there could be a Ted Cruz, or there could be someone else who's a strong conservative with strong biblical values, but someone that will not be as divisive as Donald Trump. One of my friends suggested that we needed 8 years of the wrecking ball, to drain the swamp and demolish all the stuff. The problem is the wrecking ball also knocks down a lot of nice houses, that didn't need to be knocked down. So can someone else come and rebuild? Someone else that's more of a unifier. If I was praying for that, that would be my hope. If Joe Biden is elected, or perhaps it's Biden not long after it goes to Kamala Harris, you can expect that conservatives and those on the right are going to be even more determined to push back, because there's going to be a more overt attack on us. So I see things only intensifying in that regard. But if I was praying, I'd be focusing on Great Commission and the church being the church. And then I would pray for someone that could bring unity to a healing nation, because we know a house divided can't stand.
Wise words, and I hope the church is listening. Evangelicals at the Crossroads, Can We Pass the Trump Test? Is not just a book leading up to this election. It is a manual for the next 4 years. At least, Dr. Brown, thank you again for joining us.
My joy. God bless you.
God bless you. Everybody go to AskDrBrown.org and get a hold of your copy of the book today. It's time for tithes and offerings. Listen, we can't tell you what a blessing it is to have you with us here on Encounter Today, and your support means the world to us. We're just a small country church reaching the world with the gospel of Jesus Christ and with prophetic messages like the one you're enjoying today, and we couldn't do it without your support. In fact, if it's your first time giving to Encounter Ministries, if you've never given before, we want to sow into you. We're going to send you absolutely free this series called Armed, Powerful Prayers for Perilous Times. More than 6 hours of teaching on how to pray in the last days. So make sure whenever you go to EncounterToday.com, you click on the Giving tab, and when you give, you be looking for that email, because we're going to send you those downloads absolutely free to be a blessing to you. Together, I believe that we can see a third great awakening. Go to EncounterToday.com right now. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share. Your engagement helps us get the word out. But I've got an exciting announcement for you. Coming in 2021, in November of 2021, I'm going to be taking a tour group to Israel and to Greece as we walk in the footsteps of Jesus and in the footsteps of the Apostle Paul. This is going to be a life-changing experience, and to get more information, all you have to do is go to EncounterIsrael.org. This is more than a tour, it's a mission, and I believe it's going to change your life. Let's go together.